The death of his father would change everything for the young man. He was so heartbroken that he became ruthless, which changed him forever. People started calling him the new mafia boss. But who is he? What happened to him? Let's find out in today's episode of our channel. Michael Corleone was only 20 years old when he decided to leave his family's business. His father, Vito Corleone, had built an empire from nothing. He owned restaurants, banks, and casinos. He was even friends with the mayor. In fact, most people in town were afraid to speak ill of Vito because they didn't want to end up like Barzini, Strachey, and Clemenco. 3 rival mafia bosses who ended up dead after messing with Vito. But Michael wasn't interested in this life. He wanted to live a normal life. So after graduating from NYU with a degree in business, he left the family business and moved to Mexico with his girlfriend. However, Vito's enemies never forgot about him. And when Michael heard gunshots outside his home one night, he knew what had happened. When he returned to New York, his whole family showed up at the hospital to tell him goodbye. As Michael held his father's hand, he promised to avenge his death. Vito had been shot by Barzini's men, but he still managed to reveal something important to Michael before dying. He told him there was a traitor in the family, someone who had betrayed him and helped Barzini's men find him. It was Tom Hagen, his consigliere. Now that Vito was dead, Hagen became the new boss. But Michael wasn't going to let him take over, so he went to his sister to warn her, but Connie had already agreed to marry Tom Hagen's son to secure the alliance between their families. Michael was furious because his own sister had betrayed him. But he had no choice but to accept the marriage. After the wedding, Michael was summoned by his uncle Sonny, who wanted to know why he had come back. He told Sonny about Vito's last words, but Sonny didn't believe him. He thought Vito was just delirious. And even if there was a traitor, it wasn't Hagen. So he ordered his men to kill all of Vito's enemies, including Barzini, Strachey, and Clemenco. But he also warned Michael not to interfere because he was still in shock. But Michael couldn't just sit around while his father's killers were roaming free. He had to do something. Anything to get rid of them once and for all. He went to see Barzini first, but his men surrounded Michael and tried to kill him. However, he managed to escape and return home. That's when he met with a representative from the other families, Tom Hagen, to discuss a truce, Michael said. He wanted to make a deal, but instead they offered him a place in the new alliance. They gave him Vito's old seat and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. He had to agree or be killed. But Michael had other plans. He had secretly recorded the meeting with Barzini's men, and now he could use the tape to blackmail him. Michael played the recording for everyone and accused Barzini of killing his father. Then he told them he was going to destroy the tape. But in reality, he kept it hidden and used it to make more threats until Barzini and his allies were arrested. When everyone thought Michael had won, things took a dark turn. Connie came to his house and told him she was pregnant. She was sure the baby was Tom's, but Michael insisted on doing a paternity test. Connie was outraged and threw acid on Michael's face, permanently disfiguring him. That's when Michael realized how cruel Connie was. She had betrayed him twice. First, she married his father's killer without telling him. Second, she attacked him when he refused to accept the child. Michael was shocked. He never imagined Connie would betray him like that. When he looked into her eyes, he saw the evil that resided within her. But Connie wasn't the only one who had betrayed Michael. His mother had been keeping secrets from him as well. When he visited her, she told him to go back to Mexico and start a new life. She said she was proud of the man he had become, but she didn't want him involved in the family business anymore. She asked him to let go of the past and move on. Although he loved his mother, he couldn't trust her either. Now that Connie had attacked him, Michael decided to leave New York. He went to CK, his girlfriend from college, but she had also changed. She was engaged to another man. And when Michael told her about Connie's attack, she said she didn't care. She had moved on with her life. Although Michael was hurt, he understood. He had been gone for a long time, and she deserved someone who could give her more attention. But Kay still had a soft spot for Michael and agreed to help him find a new identity. She put him in touch with a plastic surgeon who reconstructed his face and helped him get a new passport. With a new look and new documents, Michael left the country and started a new life in Sicily. There he met a beautiful woman named Apollonia, fell in love and decided to stay. But his past wouldn't let him rest even in paradise. One day, Assassins arrived in Sicily to kill Michael. Barely escaped with his life and fled to America. When he returned to New York, he learned that his brother had been murdered by the rival families. They had taken revenge for Barzini's arrest. Michael realized he couldn't hide forever. He had to return to the family business. Michael returned to avenge his brother's death. He sent threatening letters to the heads of the other families, promising retaliation. But when they met for a summit, Michael didn't show up. Instead, he had his father's former allies killed. The heads of the other families were shocked and outraged. They couldn't believe someone would dare challenge them like that. But they were even more surprised when Michael showed up at the next meeting. He sat in his father's old seat and told them he was in charge now. Michael was ruthless and efficient. Eliminated the heads of the other families one by one until he was the only boss left standing. But he didn't stop there. He went after his own family too. Connie's husband, Tom Hagen, was the first to go. Michael had never trusted him, and when he found out he had betrayed his father, there was no doubt in his mind that he had to die. Then it was Connie's turn. Michael had hated her since she threw acid on his face, and when he learned she had lied about being a virgin, he was disgusted. He had her killed along with her lover. Finally, it was his mother's turn. Michael had always suspected she was having an affair with Tom Hagen, and when he confronted her, she confessed. She said she had never loved Vito, and she did want to spend the rest of her life in a loveless marriage. Michael was shocked. He couldn't believe his own mother would betray his father like that. And although he loved her, he had no choice but to kill her. After eliminating his entire family, Michael became the undisputed boss of the mafia. He ruled with an iron fist, and his word was law. The other families didn't dare defy him because they knew he was ruthless and would not hesitate to kill anyone who crossed him. But Michael was lonely. He had no one left in his family, and the only woman he had ever loved, Kay, had rejected him. He had everything he had ever wanted: power, money, and respect. But he had paid a heavy price for it. He had become the very thing he had once hated the most: a ruthless mafia boss. But maybe that's what his father had planned all along. Maybe Vito had groomed Michael for greatness, knowing that one day he would take over the family business. Maybe he had known that Michael would become the new mafia boss. After all, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. So what do you think? Was Michael destined to become the new mafia boss? Or do you think he was just a pawn in his father's game? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.